Jim, you're renowned for making your fortune several times over by investing where others fear to go. So with that in mind, is Greece a possible investment?
This is nothing more than another temporary solution. They've been doing this for 5 years now. This is not the end, Jenny. You're going to have plenty to talk about Greece again and again until they come up with a real solid solution.
So Jim, if the European Union flew you in to put you in charge, what would you do with Greece?
I would make them go bankrupt. The reality is, Jenny, they are bankrupt. They can never pay those bills. I would not let them leave the euro. I would try to make them stay in the euro and start over, reorganize, admit reality, and start again.
But with Greece and China falling apart, investors are getting scared. Do you think we're starting to see the next crisis?
Well, you're supposed to invest when people are scared. I've been buying China. I was buying China Wednesday and Thursday of last week. I have orders in below the market. If China goes down more, I'll be buying more. People are already panicked in China. China's collapsed about a third in a month. So you're seeing fear. Now, Jenny, but to your bigger question, yes, sometime in the next few months or a year, we're probably going to have the beginning of the serious crisis. And maybe these small markets, China, Greece, and other places are leading up to that. But so far, we don't have the big, full-blown crisis yet. Don't worry, it's coming. It's coming in the next year or two, but we're not there yet.
Well, as we mentioned before, China has long been considered the horse to back, but now, as you said, its stocks are falling. So is it the investment opportunity it once was?
I'm buying in China. It's not the investment opportunity it was when it was down 50% lower than this, or 10 years ago or something. But no, China is going to be the next great country in the world. Jenny, in America, as we rose to power and glory, we had 15 depressions with a D. We had a horrible civil war. We had very few human rights, had very little rule of law. We had massacres in the streets. But every time there was a big problem in the U.S., if you bought, you made a lot of money.
You have said we're overdue a stock market crash. So where are the safe havens?
No such word as safe for me when you're talking about the investment world. Nothing is safe. No matter how safe you think it might be, you can still lose everything.
But where would you say are the new market frontiers?
Well, I bought some Zimbabwe a couple of weeks ago. I don't think most of the people are going to buy Zimbabwe. Ivory Coast, I'm buying. China, I told you I'm buying. Russia. Russia's a very hated market. With the price of oil coming down, Russia will probably get cheaper again. Russia, I would buy. But I like to buy things that are depressed and hated. The New York Stock Exchange is near its all-time high. I don't like to buy things making all-time highs. I like to buy things that are depressed.
Do you see any bubbles developing over the next few years?
Government bonds in the West are definitely a bubble, and it may get worse, but I would not buy government bonds anywhere in the West.
You've been in the investment business now for a few years. How have you seen it change?
The main thing that's changed is the instant access of information. It used to take you a long time to get a lot of information. Now everybody gets pretty much the same information at the same time, which is a major change, or you can get it if you want it. But, Jenny, the thing that hasn't changed is the judgment. I mean, no matter how much information you have and how fast you get it, you still have to have judgment.
You've suggested that oil prices will bottom out before the end of the year. Why is this?
Well, we had a big collapse. We've had a big rally, dead cat bounce, we call it in America. And normally what happens then, you go back and you test the bottom. You have a second test to the bottom for whatever reason. Maybe the treaty with Iran is the reason for the second test to the bottom. But let's say more Iranian oil comes on stream. The wildest bull would say maybe 500,000 or 600,000 new barrels. Whether that's right or not is irrelevant, but if it is, that's going to drive the frackers out of business. The main new source of oil in the past couple of years has been from fracking in the U.S. If the price of oil goes back down, the frackers are out of business. So oil hits a bottom and starts over again.
I've also read you say the agriculture industry is doomed. Why?
Agriculture has been a terrible business to be. What I said was agriculture may be a less unsafe haven going forward. Agriculture has been so bad, Jenny, that the average age of farmers in America is 58. In Japan, it's 66. The highest rate of suicide in the UK is in the agricultural sector. Agriculture has been a terrible business. More people in America study public relations than study agriculture. So we're going to have a huge crisis in agriculture in the next few years unless agriculture becomes much more prosperous and exciting. If we don't have more prosperity in agriculture, we're not going to have any food at any price. We're not going to have any clothes at any price.
You're a member of the Coalition to Reduce Spending. Are you fed up of big government? Surely when we hit difficulty, this is exactly the time for governments to step in, no?
No, are you kidding? Governments usually make it worse. I can think of very few times when, other than short-term band-aids, when governments bail out their friends and the people who scream the loudest. No, governments usually make it worse, not better. That does not mean we can't have some pain, but usually pain helps get rid of a problem, and then you can start over.